Man cherishes good dreams, but nightmares cherish man. Welcome to section 7 of chapter 20 of the Holy Quran. Um, Chapter 7 begins with sign 116. Let's go. وإذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس أبى. When we said to the angels, prostrate yourselves to Adam in inverted commas, they prostrated themselves, but not Iblis. He refused. Abba. No commentary to that. Let's go to sign 117. فقلنا يا آدم إن هذا عدو لك ولزوجك. Then we said, O Adam, verily this is an enemy to thee and thy wife. زوجك, thy wife. فلا يخرجنكما من الجنة فتشقى. So let him not, that's angel, devil. So let him not, or let devil not get you both out of the garden, so that thou art landed in misery. Fatashka, so that you will not land in misery. Commentary 2641. 2641. Yes, commentary 2641. See last note. See last note. The story is referred. The story is referred to in order to draw attention to man's folly and rushing into the arms of Satan, though he had been clearly forewarned. What do we hear today? Sakawa, cults, and whatnot. We are running into the hands of Satan, but little do we know. And that was commentary 2641 to sign 117. We're going to sign 118. Inna laka Allah tujua inna laka Allah tujua fiha wala ta'ra. There is therein enough provision for thee not to go hungry nor to go naked. Therein, where in the Jannati, in garden, you don't need to be deceived. Anything you need is in the garden. Like commentary 2642. For thee not to go hungry nor to go naked. Pardon, I think I didn't finish it. Okay, let me repeat it. There is enough provision. Enough provision is in brackets. For thee not to go hungry nor to go naked. 4642. Not only had the warning been given that Satan is an enemy to man and will effect his destruction, but it was clearly pointed out that all he needs were being met in the garden of happiness. Full stop. Food and clothing, drink and shelter. You need all in the garden. Why do you let Satan deceive you? Were amply provided for. We now go to, that was going to 2642 to sign 118. We now go to sign 119. وأنك لا تسمع فيها وأنك لا تسمع فيها ولا تدها. Nor to suffer from thirst. Tasmu, to suffer from her fiha in need. Wala tadha, nor from the sun's heat. You can imagine when you're in a garden or even in the forest garden, they mean the same thing. They are synonymous in some cases. You don't suffer from the sun. The sun doesn't burn you. Okay. No commentary to that. We go to sign 120. Sign 120. فوسوس فوسوس إليه الشيطان قال يا آدم هل أدلك على شجرة خلد وملك لا يبلى. But Satan whispered evil to him. I'll try to whisper. Eh? That's why Muslims don't like whispering. Whispering. Whistling, sorry. Uh, that's whispering. No, no, not. That's why Muslims or men of God general, not only Muslims, like Christians and Jews, they don't like whispering. Mm. He said, "Oh, Adam, shall I lead thee to the tree of eternity and to a kingdom that never decays? La yabla, never decays. Mm? Uh, tree of eternity. Shajratan huldi. Shajratan huldi. Shajratal huldi. Ala shajratal huldi. Commentary 2645. Commentary 2643 that pardon me. Commentary 2643 to sign 120. The suggestion of Satan is clever, as it always is. So Satan is very clever, very, very, very clever. More clever than men, except the righteous one, men, those who remember God always and make themselves humble. Otherwise, Satan will overtake you in cleverness. Uh, so the suggestion of Satan is clever, as it always is. It is false and at the same time plausible. It is false because, one, that felicity was not temporal like the life of this world. Two, they were supreme in the garden. They were supreme in the garden, and a kingdom such as was dangled before them would only add to their sorrows. Full stop. It was plausible because, one, nothing had been said to them about eternity, as the opposite of eternity was not yet known. Mhm. So, eternity, they were in eternity in the garden. That's where we all aspire to go. They don't know any other thing apart from that. Adam and Eve. They don't know anything about other than eternity in the garden. See, when you're in pleasure, you won't realize it, and pleasure is taken away from you. So, opposite of eternity was not yet known, comma. And two, the sweets of power arise from the favor. The sweets of power arise from the savor of self. Savor, Savour, from the savor of self. And self is an alluring attraction that misleads the will. I love that. Mm. The self and self is an alluring, then into brackets, if false. If false. So there is a note to that. There is a qualification to that. So if you like self and that self is false, if it is false, if it's righteous, fine. If it is false, in brackets, if false, attraction that leads the will. That misleads, sorry. Let me take it again. And self is an alluring, and self is an alluring attraction. If false, yes, if false, if self is false, it's an alluring attraction if false. Uh, 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 I always miss my lines. Self, 4, 3. Oh, pardon me. And self is an alluring attraction that misleads the will. That is, if false, if self is false, it misleads the will. Full stop. That was commentary 2643 to sign 120. We now go to sign 121. فأكلا منها فبدت لهما سوآتهما. In the result, that's Adam and Eve, they both ate of the tree, and so their nakedness appeared. فأكلا منها, they ate of it. فبدت لهما سوآتهما, then their nakedness appeared to them. وتفكا وتكفا يصفان عليهما من الورقة الجنة. من الورقة الجنة. And so their nakedness appeared to them. Sorry, we've done that. They began to sew together for their covering leaves from the garden. ورقة من الجنة. واتفقا يصفان عليهما. They began to sew together for their covering leaves of the garden. Colon. وعصى آدم وعصى آدم وعصى آدم ربه فغوى. وعصى آدم ربه فغوى. Thus did Adam disobey. Thus did Adam behave. Adam disobey his Lord. Disobey his Lord and fell into error. Fagawa, and fell into error. Fagawa. Commentary 2645. 2645. No, there are two commentaries, two in one. 2644 and then 2645. Okay, let's go to 2644. Hitherto, they knew no evil. It's like they just knew the garden, eternity. They knew only eternity. They knew hitherto, they knew no evil. Adam and Eve, they knew no evil at all. And indeed, the learners once tell us it's not only his time, it extended to the time of Idris or Enoch, up to these two generations. They didn't know evil. I hope I'm right. Hitherto, they knew no evil. Full stop. Now, when disobedience to God had sullied their soul and torn off the garment, their sullied self appeared to themselves in all its nakedness and ugliness, and they had to resort to external things, i.e., leaves of the garden, to cover their shame or to cover the shame. Sullied is spelled Sullied. Sullied. Uh, nakedness and ugliness, in all its nakedness and ugliness, and they had to resort to external things, I into brackets leaves and leaves of the garden, to cover their shame. In other words, they didn't even know they were walking naked. Let's reflect. Let's take our minds back to the animals. Oh, they don't know they are naked. They don't know it. In other words, we men also wouldn't have known we were naked, but for Satan. So, do we say Satan is an advantage to us in that sense or not? Hmm? We didn't know we were. Adam, they didn't know they were naked. They were walking naked in the garden. Hmm? But when Satan set in, they just began to cover their fronts. And they now saw that, oh, we have to find leaves to cover ourselves. Mm. Likewise, in the garden, pardon me, I hope I'm not wrong, we won't even know that we are naked. We will be, but we will know. And we will not have feeling for the opposite sex. We'll go back to square one. That was commentary 2644. We're going to commentary 2645 to the same sign, which is sign 121. It's against error. Fagawa. Adam had been given the will to choose, and he chose wrong, and was about to be lost when God's grace came to his aid. His repentance was accepted, and God chose him for his mercy, for God's mercy. God chose him for God's mercy, and not Adam's mercy. As stated in the next verse. As stated in the next verse. And the next verse is 122, which is also a sign 122. ثم اجتباه ثم اجتباه ربه فتاب عليه وهدى. But his Lord chose him, اجتباه ربه, chose him, into brackets, for his grace, for God's grace, colon. He turned to him and gave him guidance. Fataba alayhi, wahada. God turned to Adam and gave him favor. So we hear taba, or tuba. When you make tuba, you turn to God. You will see that it is rather God who turned to us first because of his favor. Because of sympathy, his sympathy for us, he turned to us first. Why don't we turn to God when we are in distress rather than turning to Satan? Uh, and give him guidance. Yes. No commentary to that. We shall go to sign 123. Kala. Who said Kala? He said, God said, Kala. Ihbita minha jami'a. Ihbita minha jami'a. The two of you, get you down, or get ye down, it's all English. The two of you, get ye down, both of you, all together. Jami'a, the two of you together. He said, God said, get ye down, both of you, all into dash, all together. Kala, ibita min hajami a. Bagdakum le bagdum adun. Bagdakum le bagdum adun. Both of you, from the garden minha, with enmity one to another, with enmity one to another. Where is it? Bagdakum le bagdum. Bagdakum le bagdum udwan, with enmity one to the other. فإما فإما يأتين يك فإما يأتينكم فإما يأتينكم مني هدى فإما يأتينكم مني هدى but if فإما but if but if as is sure there comes to you guidance from me. But if as is sure there comes to you guidance from me, فإما يأتينكم what is it? فإما يأتينكم مني هدى فمن أتبع هدى فلا يدل فمن أتبع هدى فلا يدل ولا يشكى لا يدل ولا يشكى. Sure there comes to you guidance from me. Whosoever follows my guidance, ma atabi'a huda, whosoever follows my guidance will not lose his way, la yadullu, nor fall into misery. La yadullu, la yadullu, wala yashka, la yadullu, wala yashka, will not go astray, nor fall into misery, yashka, or fall into misery. Wala yashka, nor fall into misery. Commentary 246. Commentary 2466. I think there are two commentaries there. 2646 and 2467. Yes, two commentaries. 2646. Pardon me. 2446. 2646 rather. Pardon me. Commentary 2646 first. The little variation between the passage and chapter 238 are instructive, as showing how clearly the particular argument is followed in each case. How Ibita, Ibita is spelled in English. How Ibita get you down. How Ibita, into brackets, get ye down, is in the dual number. That's two. Ibita, 2, the dual number. If it's plural, it would sound Ibitu. So Ibita dual number is in the dual number and refers to the two individual souls, our common ancestors, Adam and Eve. Or Adam, well, Hawa, or some say Hawa. Some say Hawa. Eve is Hawa, or Hawa. Okay, the second part of the commentary, which is 2467. Let's go there. For the same reason as in the last note, we have here the consequences of guidance to the individual. Viz, that's namely, being saved from the being saved from going astray or from falling into misery and despair. So when you are well guarded, you are being saved from going astray or falling into misery and despair. When you are saved and you become righteous. Full stop. In chapter 2, Psalm 38, the consequences expressed, though they apply to the individual, are also appropriate, taken collectively, are also appropriate, taken collectively. Column. Then we have inverted commas. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. On the righteous, the guided, shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Indeed, even in this world, not in the hereafter, when you are well guided, you are not afraid and you don't grieve because you know how the world is. You know the world is full of crookedness and curves. And Satan says he's not going to leave man alone. So when you are aware of this, you see that you are not you've prepared yourself so well that you will not grieve and you will not fear. Mm. Every day, arguments, court cases, mm. and the misguided may draw you into arguments and uh, court cases. Still, you expect it. It's not going to grieve you. It's not going to bring any fear to you. When you are going to the court, you know you are right. And if the court is right, you are going to gain the upper hand. Mm, shall not grieve. And that's second part commentary. That's second commentary 2647 to sign 1, 2, 3. We now go to sign. I think viewers will stop here. There's little time for me. We stop at 1, 2, 3 and continue in the next episode. When we come back, we shall go to sign 1, 2, 4. And from there, from sign, we'll go to sign 1, 2, 4 up to sign 1, 2, 8 to complete the section. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Au revoir. May God be with you all.